Okay, so I'm not going to do all the video editing stuff that other people do when it comes to a FNAF theory. I'm actually just going to start from the beginning of FNAF and then go to the end of FNAF with a theory that I believe is completely 100% true. So I have to start at FNAF 4. Now this is quite an interesting point to start with the whole FNAF universe, because we know FNAF 4 is the first game in the series. It was FNAF 4, Sister Location, FNAF 2, FNAF 1, FNAF 3. And there's a lot of people that have got theories about what the actual story's about, but there's parts that don't make sense. So I'm going to right now try to explain to you, the viewer, what I believe is going on, and this is due to hours and hours of research. So I'm going to start with FNAF 4. We already know that in FNAF 4 there's a kid that ends up at the end of the day. Spoilers, by the way, if you don't want to be affected by spoilers, close this video now and play the games and come back. We know there's a kid that gets his head chomped by one of the Freddy Fazbears. Now, there's something very interesting about this game, because you can tell that William Afton knew that kids that were killed, their souls, they didn't go to heaven or hell, they lingered in a purgatory, and he knew how to put them into animatronics. So the whole FNAF 4 thing was when William realises that when a soul dies, he can put it into an animatronic. Now this is very important, because in Sister Location you go downstairs and you see an amazing amount of technology. I mean, stuff that shouldn't exist in the same time as when you go upstairs and you're in a 1970s room, which makes no sense. Unless he's getting funding off of some kind of organisation, there is no way that he'd be able to create the robots he's got. Now, here is William Afton's darkest secret. In FNAF 4, he was realising how to manipulate souls. Once he figured out that he could manipulate a soul into an animatronic, he decided to create an animatronic. An animatronic in his own organisation, that if he ever died, the ace up his sleeve would be he could possess this certain animatronic and continue his killing spree for as long as he wanted in a robot. That robot's name was Ennard. But Ennard wasn't just a robot made in that way. He split into 5 different animatronics, which is Funtime Foxy, Ballora, Baby, Funtime Freddy and Bonnet. He put all of these, it's a bit like Captain Planet, that old cartoon Captain Planet, when the 5 come together it creates a thing. So William now, after FNAF 4, knowing that he could manipulate the souls of children into animatronic suits, decides to create his own animatronic that if he ever died, whether it be under normal circumstances or whether it be one of the animatronics coming for revenge, he would have the ability to transfer his soul into this animatronic and continue his killing spree untouchable and undiable, because he couldn't die because he's in Ennard, the animatronic. Now this is where it gets really dark. There was 2 people that could have interfered with his plan. That was his daughter and his son. So he told his daughter not to get anywhere near Baby, but we know when you tell your kid not to do something, what do? The exact opposite. The little girl was captured by Baby, and William, knowing that the soul of his own daughter was there, this proves that he was already manipulating souls, because he knew that the soul of his own daughter was down there. He sends his son. Now you might wonder why he wanted to kill his daughter and his son. This actually makes complete sense. He tried to create a legacy for himself, William Afton, and only 2 people could ever interfere with his legacy and find out the truth about the actual William Afton was his son and daughter. So he sets up this trap. So what he basically does is, he lets his daughter be taken by Baby. He sends his son down with a mission of freeing the soul. That's important. They already knew that could even be done. Freeing the soul of Michael's sister. So Michael goes down and does all that stuff, puts the 5 animatronics together, and they come together to create Ennard. But the thing is, Michael doesn't die when he gets scooped. Actually, it was William's way of transporting the animatronic out of the building into a safe place where he could use it wherever he wants. I'm talking about William here. Whether they spat up in the sewer or not, William would know where it is, and he would always know how to go to it if ever he came to an untimely death. Or he expected his son to die, but when his son never died and spewed up Ennard and continued to be alive, his father tricks him again. Here we go into FNAF 2, and this is very, very important. See, William Afton was taking a night shift, and we know that the animatronics were designed to see people that were a threat. I believe that he killed 5 children, but the 5th child he killed actually, just before died, saw William Afton's face. That soul took over what is now Mango, which was Funtime Foxy, and Mango just stared at him. Now this is very important, because if Mango just stared at him and William Afton realised what was going on, he then mangled Funtime Foxy and then tampered with the other animatronics so that they couldn't see William Afton anymore. In fact, every adult became a sort of threat. So what really happened was William Afton messed with Mango, made him into Mango. Mango tried to explain to the other animatronics that a night shift worker was the guy that had killed him. He tampered with their sight, their vision, so they could only see blurs. And then, because of this, because they couldn't recognise William Afton from other adults, they started becoming hostile towards other adults. As Phone Guy says, they seem to be good around children, but when they encounter an adult, they just seem to stare. Well, that makes sense. And then we've got the other one in it, the puppet. Now the puppet makes a lot of sense if you think this. Remember what Baby said in Sister Location just before this? The one thing I have learned to do is pretend. What if the puppet is pretending to William Afton that he's got this tune or this song that can keep the puppet at bay? But whenever the song runs out, it can't be that song that continues his cam, because the song is dun 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 dun. But when the puppet gets out and breaks out, it's the same tune, just going faster. Dun 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 dun. So if that song actually was keeping the puppet at bay, why would the song play faster when he's loose? Unless he is doing what Baby said and pretending. Now this is where it gets interesting. You play as Jeremy Fitzgerald, get the front of your head bit off, and we believe that the bite of 3 victim survived due to what Phone Guy said, but I don't think he did. I think he survived for a bit then died. Now if you know anything about ghosts, you'll know that, like, if you go into an old mine where like workers and their bosses were killed in this mine, if you go back to that mine you'll hear like the picks. Sometimes you hear foreman shouting "hey" or whatever. This proves that even after you've died you can still do the job that you're doing in another location. Here comes FNAF 1. When you, Jeremy Fitzgerald, have been moved to a new restaurant, but you're actually dead and you're in purgatory, and the souls are in purgatory, which makes sense of why they're only active between 12 o'clock at night and 6 o'clock in the morning. These animatronics are coming to destroy your soul because they think that you're William Afton. This is where it gets really interesting. Once William realised that his son Michael didn't die, and because he sent his son down to save his sister's soul, he tricks Michael one last time by saying this: listen, I need you to go here and save the souls of 5 other children. These are children he killed, right? I need you to go in there, right? Disassemble the animatronics and free their souls, but I need to tell you something now, Michael. If something goes wrong, there's a spring suit in the background. This spring suit will be your safety. If you go into this spring suit, you will be safe, you will be fine. That is where William did his last trick against his own son. He told Michael that hiding in a spring suit would be fine, but William knew that due to the lackluster conditions in this place, that it would eventually end up in a spring lock failure and his son would die. Once he thought his son was dead, he sealed up that wall. William sealed the wall up and that was fine. Michael's behind this wall, and we know the puppet was there as well because we see him in FNAF 3, and the puppet was trying to speak to Michael, and it makes sense with, you know, the whole saying, don't hold it against us, you don't know what we've been through. Like, those never came from Baby or even in Biddy Babs. Those came from the voices of the souls that were talking to Michael after they confused Michael with his father William, setting him up in a spring trap failure. It makes sense with a couple of the hints that Scott said, like 4 games, 1 story. It makes sense in that. Why is Chica missing her beak? Well, it's pretty obvious, because William Afton fucked up the eyes of the animatronics, so Chica was like constantly walking into walls and stuff, and of course her beak would fall off. And you know, in the darkness, what a child sees what can be seen in the darkness is often misunderstood in the mind of a child. Again, that explains why Michael ended up getting springtrapped by the souls, because they misunderstood that it wasn't him. Now, here's where it gets really convoluted. Michael, has been held behind this wall for 30 years, walks out into like a museum. Like, imagine you've lost your memory, right? And you end up in a museum of natural history as you're walking about, you're learning stuff. Well, Michael's walking about, he's learning the entire history of what happened in the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. He's really learning what happened in the restaurants. He's learning everything, and he starts to realise that his dad set him up, that his dad was responsible for killing the children, which is why he ends up at the end burning the place down and going hunting his dad. Now, I can put everything that I've just said. I've already put in FNAF 4 explaining when he knows how to manipulate souls, Sister Location when he tricks his son, FNAF 2 when he messes with the animatronics visions, FNAF 1 when you're playing somebody that's died that's in purgatory, and FNAF 3 when Michael is able to walk around and see what his father's really done. This makes what is said at the final cutscene make a lot more sense when he says, "Father, it's me, Michael." He says that specifically because he doesn't want his father to think it's his daughter, which he's already saved the soul of. He says, I went down there and I put her back together, which makes sense, because he never died. But then he says something really interesting. A lot of people that are doing FNAF theories have kind of picked up on it. He says, "I found it, it's exactly where you said it would be, but this was a spring lock suit." Because his father told him that the spring lock suit would be his safety. It says they were all there, but they never recognised me. Well, that's the souls of all the children that he thought that he was saving, but his father was just setting up a trap. I found that they didn't recognise me at first, but then they thought I was you. So he's basically in a spring lock suit and been trapped, and then he says, "There's something wrong, I should be dead, but I'm not." That's just what he's thinking behind this wall. I've been living in the shadows. Well, that kind of makes sense, because he's been trapped behind this wall for 30 bloody years. And then he says, "There's only one thing for me to do now, I'm going to come find you." But then he says it really dark, like he's figured everything out, like, "I'm going to come and find you." Now this all makes sense, right, in the terms of what I've said. Now, at this point, I can't say where William Afton is still alive or not. If he is still alive, then he's probably put himself into the body of Ennard, so it'll be like Springtrap versus Ennard. But there's another thing. See the whole "don't hold it against us, you know what we've been through"? And in FNAF 3, when you see the phantom animatronics, they're not phantoms, they're the spirits of the kids that were also trapped behind the wall with Michael, that said, "Don't hold it against us, you know what we've been through." So Michael has the spring suit and he has the puppet on his side, but he also has the souls of the kids on his side as well, like you see happening during FNAF 3. So I think that the next game is going to be Michael knowing what's happened and going after his father, with the help of the puppet, who knew how to pretend, because the puppet wanted William to go back into the place at doing a night shift again, and then kill him when he could, pretty much right away, because William would feel sure and secure being there, because he thinks the music box would stop it. And the 5 souls that we see as phantom animatronics in FNAF 3 on his side against his dad, who's either alive, is going to die and end up possessing Ennard, or who's already dead and possessing Ennard, and then it's going to be a fight between Springtrap and Ennard. Anyway, this is my FNAF theory, and I think that everything adds up all this stuff. And you might say to yourself, "Okay, I dig the whole purgatory theory, but why does he get paid at the end, like a paycheck with his name on it?" Well, again, that makes sense with what I said. When a ghost dies in a certain situation and other people die, like for example Phone Guy, who we know died, or like other people that might have figured out what William Afton was up to and William Afton killed him, they continue that job over in the afterlife. So if you are in the afterlife playing the role of security guard, then a guy who might pay you in the afterlife, who has also been killed by William Afton, might pay you, and everything may seem fine, because you don't see a ghost turn around going, oh wait a minute, it's 2016, we started building this mine in the 1800s, we should probably be done by now. It's just not how ghosts work. And we all know that Purgatory was an amazing point in Scott Cawthon's entire story, because he is a Christian, and he has a lot of religious undertones, as you see when Chica's got her arms open like she's on a cross. So this is what I think is true theory, and feel free to comment below if you like it. If you don't, it's really up to you. But I will be doing another theory on the next game when it comes out, and I hope you enjoy this and tell me what you think. Bye bye.